The Kardashians are very polarizing. Some people love them, some people hate them. I watched Kim Kardashian's masterclass last night and I was like, I have to chat with the girls about this one because it was really good. I was actually shocked at how much I enjoyed it. Like, I thought it was entertaining, informative, and just gave me a good amount of insight on her as a businesswoman and just a creative person. So I want to share with you my key takeaways. I watched it, so you don't have to. I honestly had a free trial from my friend who sent me a 2-week trial of masterclass, so I decided to go ahead and watch hers. It's called The New Rules of Business, the 10 Commandments. I am not the type of person who can't get something from someone because their lives or their upbringings or their position is so drastically different than mine. I feel like if you've built a $1 billion empire, there is certainly something that I can probably learn from you. And she also is very transparent about the fact that she has a CEO and co-founder who is Jens Greed, who is an incredible businessman. She talks about how well they balance each other out and how she has such a strong team in place so that she can really focus on the creative aspect. The Kardashians are very polarizing. Some people love them, some people hate them. It's hardly ever really any middle ground when it comes to them. There are a lot of rich, extremely wealthy people or people who come from a lot of wealth who don't do anything with it, who blow all their money or who never make anything bigger of it. She has turned her life into a complete empire and has really proven herself as a businesswoman at this point. You can get something out of this. I certainly did. So I want to give you my key takeaways from the masterclass. It was about 1 hour and 18 minutes long. So I just sat there and watched it in one take. It was honestly entertaining enough and it had a good pace, so it didn't feel too long. I honestly felt like it could have been a little bit longer because I just was very interested in a lot of the things that she was saying. But I think the first overall gist of it was that business is just different now. And there's a new way to go about business that everyone is kind of on a similar playing field with social media at the core of culture. And because we all have access to our phones and social media, we all have the capability of starting a really, really big, special brand. And she did a really good job at her first commandment. I think her first one was that you are the product. You are the one who people are buying into more so than the product. I mean, obviously your product matters and it has to be really good, but people are buying into you first, especially when you have a creator-led business, which I'm always talking about. These creators are starting to realize that they have power and that their power supersedes promoting all of these other brands, but they can actually have this aha moment. Like, we all kind of have this aha moment, like, wait a minute, I could be making more money if I was doing my own thing. Your community trusts your taste, your point of view, your credibility power first. And then because they do, they're going to buy the product that you create. But that product has to be so good that they don't just want it because of you. They want it because it's actually helping them and filling a need. So it's kind of a two-part to you being the product because people buy into you, but she explains that, like, that only lasts, that's very short-lived. They need to actually love the product as well. And that's how you really stamp yourself as an entrepreneur. Now, the second thing that I really liked that she said was fix what's almost working. So if you find a product that you love, for example, with shapewear, she said that there were always like little things she didn't like how you could see the lines through her clothes or whatever garment she was wearing on top of it. And it would just irritate her, and that there weren't a lot of shade ranges. And so she saw an opportunity. She's like, I love how shapewear makes me feel. It has all these great things about it, but these are the 2 or 3 things that irritate me about it. And I thought that that was really, really good advice because a lot of times we are trying to reinvent the wheel and think of this just extraordinary idea when it's already proven. Like, shapewear has already been proven to work. So why not fix a small problem about shapewear that a lot of people have? And that starts with paying attention, as a consumer and a customer first. So fix what's almost working and just make it so much better. And that's how you really get your position in the market. Another big takeaway is don't follow the feed, be the feed. She is doing things that just keeps the conversation going. Like they have Merkins now, which is like, I don't even want to say this, but it's like pubic hair underwear, or like the nipple bra that makes it look like you're still cold and your nipples are poking and it's really you're still wearing a bra. And so she creates products that are bold and like almost crazy, but they create these viral moments and keep the brand relevant. And she says like, think of these campaigns that are gonna keep people talking about you and are gonna start setting the trends and keeping you in the conversation instead of following along with what everyone else is doing. And even with that, she talked a lot about collaboration and how she collaborates with brands who she typically, like, they don't necessarily have the exact same shared audience. So like North Face, like their customer base might not necessarily be fully who Skims customer base is. So there's a big opportunity to collaborate there. And I thought that was really interesting because, even if Skims doesn't come out with a coat line, they're still able to add their touch on a brand that already has coats and winter gear down pat, and vice versa. And so that synergy just creates more customers for both of the brands where they can both see growth. And I think we can all learn from that. Like, even if it's not on that scale, just collaborating with other content creators who may have some overlap, but their community may not completely know who you are, and just being strategic in those decisions to help you grow your overall brand. Another takeaway was when she talked about failing fast and adapting even faster. And she shared about how they originally were going to name the brand Kimono, and then the Japanese government was upset, and it just really insulted the Japanese culture because kimonos are like traditional garments in the Japanese culture. And she was just so unaware of what that, what impact that was going to have. So they decided to change the name. And at this point, they had thousands of garments already made with like the branding and everything already on them. And so she was like, we're just going to have to change the name and we're going to have to do it quickly. So she asked her audience, and she really kind of turned it into this moment that people honestly thought was intentional. She said a lot of executives and stuff who were at the launch were like, wait, that was genius that you did that. And she was like, no, I genuinely did not do this on purpose. But because of all of the stir up around the old name Kimono, it made people interested, like, what is she gonna name the new company? Like, what is she gonna turn the name into? And like, it already started to generate buzz even before the brand had launched. And she really included her audience in that. Like, she got name suggestions from her community. And she said she had Skims in the back of her mind, but then she started seeing people saying kind of similar names. So she was like, okay, we're gonna go with it. And the biggest thing that I enjoyed that she shared was how you always have to be solution oriented. Like, it's always going to be fires to put out. There's always going to be something. And the more quickly you can just find the solution and move on, the better. In the same vein, she talked about how when she first started her business, she would always have to ask a bunch of people, like, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And just, just constantly like deviating her ideas because she was asking everyone for their opinions. And she was like, I realized how much faster I could go if I just trust my own instinct and I just make a decision quickly and move on. And a large part of building a business and being a good leader of a business is to make those decisions, keep your composure, and to not get so ruffled by problems because they're always going to come up. But if you're a solution-oriented person, then you're going to be able to figure it out and adapt quickly. And the next kind of point that just goes along with that is she talks about making your audience your co-founder. And I love how she framed that because I never really knew how to say that. Like, getting your audience involved in a lot of the decision-making of your products or services is really important. But to truly think of them as your co-founder, that is just such a great perspective to have because they're the ones buying it. And it doesn't matter how cool you are or how amazing you think your product is or your business or your brand. If they don't like it, it doesn't matter. Because the whole point of starting a business is to make money and to solve a problem. And if it's not doing either of those things, then it's not a business. And so she talks about having community driven brands because they last longer and people love feeling like they were part of a decision. You know, if I'm starting a merch line and people have three different color garments they can pick from, you know, they're much more likely to buy if the garment color that they wanted is selected. Or, you know, with Skims, she said she would take advice from people. Like, people were like, I love the product, but like, I need a pee hole. Like, I can't get this off in the bathroom. So they made a pee hole. And it just helps keep the business running when there's a conversation between the founder and the community and the audience who's buying it. So I thought that that was really, really good advice and just framed really well. And gone are the days, you guys, of launching surprise businesses. Like, surprise, here's my t-shirt company. Surprise, here's my, you know, candle line. No, like, we need to be involved. What notes are you thinking about? Like, do polls, read comments, be in your DMs, like really try to understand your community as well as you can so that you can craft the product with them at the top of your mind. And I really do think Kim K does a great job at being always in the know of what her community wants from her, and she creates that. Honestly, it was so crazy because she was talking about how with the nipple bras, how in the beginning, everyone was just like, what the heck is this? And then eventually a lot of breast cancer survivors ended up being like, oh my gosh, like I feel normal again. I haven't had nipples. And like the fact that like I can look like this with this bra on, it was very cool to see how that narrative just shifted. When your audience is your co-founder and you can really be in tune with who they are and what they want, you can start creating products that really kind of touch people that you didn't even intend to. So that was like one of my favorite things about the entire masterclass. And number 6 was empires are built before dawn. She kind of showed how she manages her time, and you know, she wakes up early and drops her kids off at school, and her office is like 7 minutes away from her house because she doesn't want to spend so much time in the car. And she really has her schedule mapped out basically down to the minute. And this is something I personally struggle with. Like, this is also why I created my planners, because time management has just always been really difficult for me. I am the type of person who is like rushing out the door with zero time to spare. Like, if I need to be there by noon and it's 7 minutes away, I'm leaving at 11:53 and probably 11:55 if we're being so honest. I'm like, oh, I'm 2 minutes late. That's still on time. Like, that's just the type of person that I am. And I'm really trying to break out of that. But I also just want to be better at waking up early and just prioritizing the things that are really important, like working out, eating healthy breakfast, you know, having food ready, like just kind of a lifestyle shift. When I study and look at really successful entrepreneurs, one thing that they have mastered is time. I don't think I've read or watched a billionaire or even a super, super successful entrepreneur, even if they're not a billionaire, who isn't extremely diligent with their time and understand the power of focus and not wasting time. So I am really working on that. And I think overall, now entrepreneurs have to really understand culture almost more than they understand business, because you can find somebody who can help you run the back end of a business. If you're generating a good amount of revenue, you can hire a CEO, or if you're great at the business and ideation part and you need someone to help market it, you can find a great influencer. That's kind of like the Emma Grede approach with Good American. Like, she has the business acumen, she has the knowledge, she knows the product. Now I need a face to that. I'm gonna go get Khloe Kardashian. And so I think it just kind of depends on what your strong suits are, but the more you can understand who you are and what you contribute to the business, then the easier it is to kind of find the other parts of that make the whole picture complete so that you can really take it and run with it. So I think Kim Kardashian has done a really good job. I thought the masterclass was great. I think if you have like extremely high expectations, or if you're already like running a super successful business, it might not be like extremely relevant to you. But I think it's a good way to kind of clue in on what her world looks like from a businesswoman's perspective. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was entertaining and cool. So anyway, I would give it like a 9 out of 10. I thought that it was really insightful, also entertaining. They also did like some case studies for a service-based business. She like audited their Instagram and social media and gave them business advice. So I thought that that was cool that they brought real world entrepreneurs in to get advice from her. I thought it was good. And if you guys like this style where I'm giving my take on something or summarizing something for you, let me know. I can do more of these. And let me know which one of the takeaways is your favorite. And if you found this valuable. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.